What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you like this video. Also subscribe to the channel for boxing news, updates, opinions, graphics, all the good stuff. And follow me on Instagram. This is my Instagram page at BOXINGEGO. Now, I made this graphic earlier today, and it was a picture of Canelo. It says, "Mi era, my era." And that's what Canelo says. He says now it's his time, it's his era, and he's focused in. Hashtag, I was born ready. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Is Canelo, is it his time? Obviously, we have no indication that Floyd Mayweather is coming back. He was the previous pound for pound #1 guy, #1 draw in the sport. Looks like he's content in retirement. He's content managing his fighters and building up his stable, things like that. Manny Pacquiao, another former pound for pound and blockbuster star. It looks like his star power has since kind of dwindled a little bit. His upcoming fight with Jesse Vargas, don't really see too many people talking about it, but you do see a lot of people talking about Canelo. He did about 16 million homes in Mexico. It was free TV over in Mexico, but those are big numbers because I guarantee you every Mexican boxer is not doing that. If Johnny Gonzalez or whoever fights, I don't think it'll do that many homes. Now, if you go over to Canelo's page, make sure you follow him at Canelo. He's injured currently. I made videos talking about this. You can see his cast. It reminds me of elementary school when kids would break their arms and stuff and have people sign on the cast. And he's just chilling kind of in the throne, and it says he's focused, right? You look at some of his other recent posts and he says he's concentrated, in the zone, hashtag my era. So it looks like he's anxious to get back into the ring. He also posted a picture from the Liam Smith bout, and he says, champions make adjustments. If you hurt your right hand, use your left. Hashtag mi era. So he's saying it's his time. He dictates, he calls the shots. He's clearly the A side. For me, I want to see Canelo versus Triple G, obviously. If for whatever reason that fight doesn't happen, which is definitely not going to happen first. Golden Boy did a recent interview. I think it was the matchmaker Eric Gomez. He said that Canelo could fight up to 3 times again. Well, actually, this year was planned for 3 times, but that 3rd time didn't happen, which is turned out to be a blessing in disguise for boxing. And that was because, not that Canelo got injured, but because him being injured freed up an HBO date, and it also freed up money from HBO, who are currently experiencing budget cuts and have had a tough year, and they're closing their year strong with Ward Kovalev, Vasyl Lomachenko Walters, Orlando Salido versus Mira, and possibly Triple G versus Danny Jacobs. That might go to a purse bid because they haven't really agreed yet. So, you know what I mean? If Canelo's sitting out and not fighting Willie Monroe Jr. or Billy Joe Saunders has allowed for HBO to make all these other fights, then I'm okay with that. Canelo has fought 2 times. This year hasn't really been the most meaningful fights at all. Most people perceived them as mismatches. That was Amir Khan and also against Liam Smith, in which he won both of those fights by knockout. People want to see Canelo step up. He's saying it's his era. He's in the zone. He's concentrated. A good champion can make adjustments. Okay, make the adjustment and fight top level competition. That's all I'm asking for. And Canelo, he's in a very precarious position because I don't think people are going to accept anything less than a solid name that we know of. You know what I mean? You can go look at all these comments on his page. He's getting taken. Look at Coward a million times. He's getting taken through the ringer. And people putting Triple G, they want to see it. So if it's not going to be that, be a Billy Joe Saunders. Didn't really like the recent notion. It wasn't worth making a whole video about for me. But I didn't like the notion from the Reynosos or Canelo's team. And they said, we are not fighting Willie Monroe based on his style. I don't think that's how it works in boxing. You know what I mean? I would be offended. For everything, it's like the movie Unbreakable. Samuel L. Jackson played I'm Mr. Glass. Remember, he was this weak, fragile guy who was always breaking bones and falling downstairs and stuff like that. So he was looking for, well, that's a spoiler, but whatever. Anyway, he was looking for somebody who's on the other side of the spectrum, somebody who's almost invincible, doesn't get sick, doesn't get hurt like him. He figured that there would be somebody who is on the other side of the spectrum, that contrast. So the reason I'm saying that is because if you listen to the ridiculous sentiments when people say, oh, I'm not fighting this guy because he's a runner, just think about the other end of the spectrum. Okay, what's the opposite of a perceived runner? A guy who's a come forward guy, and a lot of times a guy with pure pressure or brute force or a lot of power, things like that. So Would you accept if Ishmael Salak or Blake Caparello or Andre Ward or Jean Pascal said, man, I'm not fighting Kovalev. He got way too much power. He puts on too much pressure. Or if fighters said that to Golovkin, no. The people who have avoided Golovkin have been ridiculed. You can't say, oh, Golovkin had way too much pressure, way too much power. I'm not fighting that. So I don't expect to see the opposite from Team Canelo. I understand they're in the A side. You could say, I'd rather them just not say anything and just not pick Willie Monroe. But I wouldn't make interviews. This is just a little like lesson in PR. I wouldn't make interviews. I would tell my team, just don't fight him. And no one will ever know why we're not picking Willie Monroe. But to openly say, oh, we're not giving Lada a rematch, which they've been on record and said, I'm not fighting him. He's a runner. Nobody wants to see that again. That's a lie. I would watch it again. I would pay money to watch that again. Shit, if you're going to make, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to make Liam Smith on pay-per-view, then what's the harm in Edeslandi Lada Part 2? You know what I mean? Clear the air. Lada clearly has a bigger U.S. fan base than Liam Smith. You know what I'm saying? People give Lada more of a chance than they gave Amir Khan. So, you know what I mean? It's just these camps got to be in unison. And a lot of people think they could just get in there and do this Mayweather blueprint or run the game like he did or make the salary. It's not that easy. You can't just, because a lot of what they're doing is what they perceived him to do. Oh, he's the A side. He just said, oh, I'm the boss and closed the book. That's not how it really worked. He had already done a lot for boxing. He had already went through the pretty boy stage and beat guys he wasn't necessarily supposed to beat, right? Throughout his whole career, Diego Corrales, the guys like, some people had Shane Mosley and Miguel Cotto beating him, Oscar De La Hoya, and he beat those champions to be in this driver's seat where he could do stuff. So you're not going to be able to just select who you want. You don't have the same career. People keep comparing, oh, but Mayweather did it. Mayweather doesn't have the same career as Canelo. When Canelo was 22, he was probably fighting guys like Jose Miguel Cotto. When Mayweather was 22, he was fighting champions. He became a champion, I think, beating Gennaro Hernandez when he was 20. So what are we comparing? You know what I mean? You can't, that's like comparing my YouTube channel. I've been in the game about 2.5, 3 years or whatever. You can't compare me to nobody, a new channel or something like that, who had a different, like, everyone has their own journey. You know what I'm saying? So what I went through, what I did, how I came up, you know what I mean? Things change. Like, things become more popular, this or that. It's this, you can't compare when people have different lives and different like paths to get to where they're at. You know what I mean? Because I said this before, Mayweather and Canelo have about the same amount of fights, right? The difference being is the quality of opposition. We all know that. Canelo had to learn on the job. He was only 15 years, so of course he fought some cab drivers in Mexico and built up and learned on the job. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's to be expected when you don't have an amateur pedigree. You don't go to the Olympics and stuff like that. And that's how he got here. That's fine. But I mean, you can't compare things that aren't comparable. It's like apple and oranges. So me, I like Canelo. I just want to see him fight somebody that's not a automatic foregone conclusion. I mean, I feel the same way with Golovkin. I would be okay with the Danny Jacobs fight, Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo. I'm good with any of those fights. What I don't want is a Dominic Wade, mandatory or not. You know what I mean? We just have seen too many of those fights where we clearly know the Kell Brook is going to lose. We clearly know Dominic Wade has no chance. Matthew Macklin, Adama. You know what I mean? Those guys, I just want to see stiffer competition. You know what I mean? Like fights that we really, you would scratch your head. I guarantee you, if Canelo fought David Lemieux, Demetrius Andrade, Gennady Golovkin, maybe even the better Charlo brother, the comment sections would be a lot more split. And that's what happens. You look at great fights that we know are good fights. Ward Kovalev, Vasyl Lomachenko and Walters. Not everybody's picking Lomachenko. I've seen people say Walters is going to knock him out. I've seen people say Lomachenko is going to school the fuck out of Walters. That's how you know it's a good fight. Same thing Ward Kovalev. Some people are saying Ward's going to have an easy work decision over Kovalev. Some people say Ward gets knocked out by Kovalev. That's the mark of a good fight, not rocket science. When you talk about Canelo versus Amir Khan, his first fight at 150 plus, at 155, no rehydration, I didn't see too many intelligent arguments as to why Amir Khan is going to move up all this weight and dominate and win on the scorecards and beat Canelo or stop him. because not too many people believe that. And if you did, then you would have been dead wrong, because that's clearly not what happened. Same thing with Liam Smith. Some people maybe were hoping Liam Smith would pull it off, but I didn't really see many people honestly, in their heart of all hearts, believing that would be the outcome. You know what I mean? They were kind of just hoping for a competitive fight. So it's, like I said, it's not rocket science. If it's your era, fight some good competition. You're a champion now at 154. Decide if you want to keep it, heal your hand, and let's get back rocking and rolling. Let me know what you guys think. Canelo says, my era. Drop it in the comment section. Share the video. Like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.